Greta Thunberg, the girl who changed the world. Greta Thunberg was born on January 3, 2003, in Stockholm, Sweden. From a very young age, she was known for her curiosity, sensitivity, and deep sense of justice. Unlike many children, Greta didn't just accept the world as it was. She asked questions. When she was 8 years old, she first heard about climate change at school. She learned how human activity was heating the planet, melting the ice caps and threatening millions of lives. But what truly shocked her was not just the problem itself, but how little people seemed to care. If climate change is real, she wondered, why isn't anyone doing anything about it? This realization changed her life. Greta became deeply affected by the issue. She stopped eating, speaking much, or smiling for a while. She was later diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism that affects how people interact and communicate. But she would later call it her superpower, saying it allowed her to see the world in black and white, right or wrong, without excuses or distractions. That clarity would become the core of her activism. In August 2018, at the age of 15, Greta decided to take action. She made a simple cardboard sign that read, "Skolstrike for klimatet," School Strike for Climate. Every Friday, she skipped school and sat in front of the Swedish Parliament, demanding that her government take real steps to fight global warming. At first, she was completely alone. People passed by, some curious, others dismissive. But Greta stayed. Rain or shine, she sat quietly holding her sign. Slowly, her determination began to attract attention. Journalists covered her story, and other students began joining her. Within weeks, her one-person protest grew into an international movement. That movement became Fridays for Future, a youth-led campaign where students around the world skipped school to demand climate action. By 2019, millions of young people were marching in cities from New York to New Delhi, chanting her name and carrying signs inspired by her message. Greta had become the voice of a generation that refused to stay silent while the planet was being destroyed. Her speeches soon reached the world's biggest stages. She spoke at the United Nations Climate Action Summit, the European Parliament, and the World Economic Forum. Greta's words were simple but powerful. She didn't try to sound diplomatic. She spoke with urgency and emotion. Her famous line at the UN, "How dare you?" became a symbol of youth anger and disappointment toward world leaders who failed to act. She said, "You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words." Those words shook the world. Despite her growing fame, Greta stayed humble and focused. She refused awards, traveled by train or sailboat to avoid carbon emissions, and often reminded people that she was just a messenger. She faced intense criticism from politicians and online trolls who mocked her age, her autism, and her passion, but she never backed down. "When haters go after your looks and differences," she once said, "it means they have nowhere left to go. Then you know you're winning." In 2019, Greta was named Time's Person of the Year, becoming the youngest person ever to receive the title. She has also been nominated multiple times for the Nobel Peace Prize. But more important than any award, Greta has sparked a global awakening. She inspired new laws, protests, documentaries, and millions of young activists fighting for environmental justice. Today, Greta Thunberg continues her mission, speaking out against greenwashing, political hypocrisy, and environmental destruction. She reminds the world that climate change is not a distant threat. It's happening now. Greta's story proves that one person, armed with truth and courage, can ignite a movement powerful enough to change the world. Her journey is not just about saving the planet. It's about showing humanity what's possible when someone dares to believe their voice matters. Through her bravery and persistence, Greta Thunberg has become a symbol of hope for a generation that refuses to give up on the future.